you've got your food processor, and I'm doubling this recipe. It calls for 2 cups of fresh basil packed. I'm going to do 4. You can't do too big of a batch. It's better if you just do a double batch at a time and not try and do too much. So I've got my basil leaves packed in there, so we don't need that. The next thing I'm going to do is put my pine nuts in, so a third and a third to double that. So we've got 1 cup of Parmesan cheese. Put that in. We're going to throw in our cloves of garlic. Calls for 3 medium, and of course we're doubling, so we're going to put the 6 in. And a pinch of salt. We don't add the olive oil until the very end as we're pureeing the basil. So the next step is quite important, because one of your main goals is you don't want to over mix your basil, because if you over mix it, it will cause the leaves of your basil and your basil paste to turn brown. So we want to keep a nice green basil paste. One of the ways to do that is, as you're mixing it, you are going to want to just drizzle the olive oil. So we're going to try and do that here. As you can see, I'm just drizzling, and I'm just going to go back and forth. I'm just pulsating it. This off, and I'm just going to scrape down the sides a little bit. So as you're scraping down the sides, you can see that the pine nuts and the garlic is starting to mix up pretty good. We want it to be finer than this, so we're not quite done with the oil, because we want it to be the consistency of a paste, not really lumpy. So we're going to go again with the oil. You want to take a look at that. You can see it's quite liquidy, and it's more of a paste. You can see the little pieces of garlic and the little pieces of pine nuts still in it. It's important to remember not to over mix it. So we're going to fill our container. And a double batch makes about a 500 ml container. Now, one of the tricks is, if you're freezing your pesto, you are going to want to add a little skim of oil on top before you put your lid on. And this is one of Chef Aaron's secret tricks to help preserve it better. We're just going to take a little drizzle just like that. And you can see how it just covered the top of our container. And then put our lid on. And presto, pesto, we have Sweet Valley Herbs, Chef Aaron's perfect basil pesto.